Okay, dear Dhamma friends, we have come to the Dhamma sermon of this English medium retreat. May you give your consent by saying sadhu sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Chattaro me bhikkave ahara bhutanang va sattanang titiya sambhavesi nang va anuggahaya katame chattaro kabalinkaro aharo olariko va sukhumo va passo dutiyo mano sancetana tatiya viññānaṁ catutthaṁ ti. Dear Dhamma friends, as you all know, in the typical retreat environment, we support our practice in various ways. Basically, one way of practice is that we do formal sitting, formal walking sessions, and basically the question and answer sessions. So all these actually are helping our practice. In one way, that is not the only way of supporting. We need several other ways of supporting as well. For example, if we have doubts in our practice, so through the practice itself, it might not be able to solve. So we need sometimes to learn some Dhamma, listen to some Dhamma, read some Dhamma. So that also helps. Therefore, Buddha says that one's practice has to be supported in 5 ways. First way, one has to establish oneself in virtues, morality. One has to have some good sila anuggahita. And then one has to have some knowledge about the Dhamma. One has to listen to Dhamma, read Dhamma. And that is called Sutta anuggahita, where you have some theoretical understanding about the Dhamma. That is also extremely helpful. Again, you have discussions through which that you can eliminate any kind of doubts if you have, and you can communicate with others, maybe with the teachers, and then you can clarify your doubts. So that is the third way of supporting. Then of course you have the tranquility meditation, samatha anuggahita, and again the vipassana meditation, vipassana anuggahita. So these 5 ways, Buddha says, are extremely useful for our practice. So now we are mostly into the Sutta anuggahita, where we are trying our best to get some understanding about the Dhamma. For this series of retreats, we have taken one particular sutta which comes in Majjhima Nikaya and which is called Maha Tanhasankhaya Sutta. This is a little deeper sutta, and fairly different topics of the Dhamma is touched. And some very beautiful and profound teaching of the Buddha is explained there. And the cause of the sutta also has some beautiful background. When Buddha was at Savatthi, Jethavanarama, there is one monk called Sati. So this particular monk has some kind of a wrong view, thinking that the consciousness is eternal, it's lasting forever, and it is what transmigrating from life to life. So in a way, it's kind of a eternalist view, sāsata ditti. So the other friends, other monks tried to eliminate that view, and this Venerable Sati was not ready to accept that, the others' understanding or others' views. Rather, he grasped this particular view thoroughly, strongly. So then what happened was, the other monks came to Buddha and informed Buddha that Venerable Sati was having that kind of a view, and it is harmful to himself, and if it spreaded, it will be harmful to the others as well. So what happened was, Buddha asked one Venerable to go and meet Venerable Sati and asked him to come and meet Buddha. So accordingly, Venerable Sati came and met Buddha, and the other monks are also in the background. Now it's a kind of a meeting going on, and Buddha is asking certain questions from Venerable Sati, and he admitted that he is having this kind of a view which is in a way extremely harmful for his understanding. And Buddha questioned, where did he mention something like that? Then Venerable Sati couldn't answer, and he remained like dumb. He couldn't answer the question. Then what happened was, Buddha want to clarify or want to show us that the proper way of solving the problem. So he started to question the other monks, because now Venerable Sati couldn't answer the Buddha's questions. Now what happens is Buddha is asking several questions from the other monks. So in a way it's a really interesting dialogue. And we touched various topics on the previous occasions, where Buddha asked whether have you seen the things which have arisen, and the other monks are telling yes, we have seen. And then Buddha asks whether have you seen the causes for them, and then the other monks are asking yes, we have seen it. So likewise certain topics are touched. So here actually we should not think that Buddha is asking whether you have seen Jetavanarama, whether you have seen Anathapindika, or whether you have seen Buddha, whether you have seen the other monks or something like that in a mundane sense. But Buddha is asking more into the practice oriented way. So the answers are also more into the practice. And again Buddha is emphasizing this consciousness is conditioned. It is paticcasamuppanna. It is dependently arisen. So this is repeatedly Buddha is emphasizing. This is in a way little philosophical subject and might not appear like relevant to us. But as you move in the practice, as you go deeper and deeper into the practice, so these kind of questions, these kind of some deeper understanding about the Dhamma help us to clarify certain doubts happening in our practice. So that's why at the moment these topics might appear like distance to you, but in the future they might be extremely useful, because we need fair amount of clarification, fair amount of strong backing from the Dhamma for us to clear the path. Otherwise we also may come into wrong views. Therefore, even though it appears like fairly theoretical, fairly philosophical, kind of dogmatic even, so just be patient, because there may be a time these kind of topics will be extremely useful to you. So last time we have discussed another topic that Buddha was explaining in this sutta, and which is called the nutriments. So nutriments is another deeper subject of the Dhamma, and the opening passage is what I have taken as the title. So what it says is, Chattaro me bhikkhave ahara. Monks, there are 4 types of nutriments. Bhutanang va sattanang titiya. So there are beings who are already arisen. For them to sustain, for them to maintain their bodies mostly, and for them to maintain themselves, there are these 4 nutriments. Again, sambhavesinang va anuggahaya. Again, whoever the beings who are coming into being, who are still getting ready to come out, for them to sustain their progress, to them to progress in their appearance. So these 4 nutriments are helpful. So in the sense we can see that there are certain beings who are not yet born fully to the world, maybe kind of eggs at the level of the eggs, or maybe in the mother's womb. So, and they are still preparing themselves to come out, and even for them these nutriments are helpful. And what are those 4? So Buddha is explaining, Katame chattaro, what are those 4? Kabalinkaro aharo olariko va sukumo va. There is this physical nutriment, physical food, which either could be gross or subtle. So actually we have discussed that topic last time. So there are physical food that all of us need, this physical food. If we think that we are so greedy to food and I need to avoid even this necessity of food and I have to be just eat what is given to my hand or something like that, then it is going to an extreme. Buddha has accepted that for all the living beings, this physical food, when we are talking about the physical world, this physical food is a must. Sabbe satta aharas titika. So all living beings are dependent on food. So we need to acknowledge that these bodies of ours are made of food. So in a way it is becoming somewhat humble and thinking that we all are dependent on food. So if we want to sustain this body, maintain this body, we need fair amount of food. So daily we consume fair amount of food. So there also Buddha explained how one can use food without making much of the defilements, rather using it for the deliverance, so using it for the understanding, to the purification even. So that we have discussed in length last month. And again the next topic is Passo Dutiyo, the contact as the second nutriment. So this also little appear distant from us when we are talking, when we are telling contact is another nutriment. So that also we have discussed last time, because we as human beings, we can say we have 6 doors. Through the eye door, we are able to observe various sights. So we like to enjoy sceneries. So we look at various things, we go to cinema, we go to sight scenes and various other places, maybe to the beach, everywhere, maybe to the mountains, various places, and we like to look at things. So our eyes are open and we go and grasp things. We delight in scenes. Similarly, we like maybe music, various kinds of songs, various sounds. So we like. So our ear door is also absorbing things or taking things inside. So this is also can be interpreted as some kind of a food, a kind of a nutriment. Then from the nose, we smell various odors. So we like to have pleasant odors. Unfortunately, even the unpleasant ones we cannot avoid. So we sometimes have to face those things as well. Cannot stop it. Even though sometimes we can simply close our eyes and stop seeing certain undesirable sights, still we can't stop some unpleasant sounds, we can't stop certain odors which may appear unpleasant, still we have to go through them. Then there is another door, the tongue door, so through which we are tasting. So various foods, various drinks, so we are tasting. So sometimes actually we are expecting the most delicious ones, but unfortunately we have to go through some bitter tastes, salty tastes, maybe some concoction like things, and then the say kind of bitter say medicines. So all these kind of things we have to experience. So we may not like those things, but still we have to experience. We can't avoid. And again we have the body through which we are experiencing hot and cold, pressure. Likewise, there are various sensations we are experiencing through the body as well. So it may be either pleasant or unpleasant. So we can't stop that. And again, through the mind, also a heavy amount of thinking we are going through, and even if we like, we can't stop it. We like to keep our mind on the breath. Just keep on still thinking. So that is the way it is. So Buddha says, therefore, this nutriment, contact, is in a way, even though it appears like a good thing, it is like a wound which is not dressed well. So suppose your skin is taken out and you are in a kind of a situation where you can't stop all these different impingements coming from the outside. So that is, in a way, it's kind of a negative way of thinking about the human life. But the senses, when they are operating, even if we like to choose the pleasant ones, unfortunately we are vulnerable for the unpleasant side as well. So we can't avoid it. So we have to, in a way, honestly, humbly admit that we have to accept, or we have to get the pleasant experiences as well as the unpleasant experiences. So therefore, this contact as the nutriment is something that we can't avoid. So today I thought of discussing about the third topic, that is the Mano Sanchetana Ahara, that is the mental volition. So this is also a kind of a deeper subject, and mostly you will understand it when you are going deeper in the Vipassana meditation. Not very much in the Samatha meditation, but mostly in the Vipassana meditation. And there, actually, more and more you practice Vipassana, more and more deeply you will understand this topic. So in a way, this information, what we are trying to get through the Dhamma, is extremely useful, because otherwise we don't know where we are heading towards through the practice also. Because sometimes we have kind of different goals in our mind through the practice. Say someone may be meditating just to have a pleasant experience, just to have a pleasant mind, just to have a healthy body, maybe have a blissful state, maybe have some mindfulness, some good memory. So all these are various kind of outcomes of the meditation, and one might feel or think these are the goals. But when we understand the teaching of the Buddha, so this Mano Sanchetana Ahara help us to understand some deeper aspects of the Dhamma and how these things will be addressed through our practice. So therefore, slowly we'll go to the depth of the Dhamma. And here Buddha says Mano Sanchetana Ahara. So he is giving a beautiful simile, and before going to explain about the detail, let's see about the simile. So that is a good entry point for the subject. Suppose there's a coal pit. It has a burning ember, and it is fairly deep. One can't see the smoke, one can't see the flames. It is fairly deep, but the burning ember is there. So imagine kind of a situation. Suppose there's a deeper pit, and it is some fair amount filled with burning ember, and it is burning. And you can't from outside see the smoke, no flames. And suppose there's a person who knows that there's such a pit in the front, and he therefore avoids it. But unfortunately, suppose there are two other strong persons, who are grabbing this person from one hand and the other hand, and grabbing this person towards that coal pit. Now what do you think? Do you think that the person would like to go towards that pit? So basically he will try his best to avoid that, even though that strong other people are grabbing him towards the pit. So the person, since he know very well the burning ember is there, if in case he will be put it inside the pit, there is no escape. He will be completely burned into death. So he knows this danger. So he is trying his best to escape, pulling to the other side. But the other two persons are fairly stronger, so they are slowly dragging him towards the pit. So Buddha is giving this simile as the nutriment of mental volition. Can you imagine why Buddha is telling like this? It's a kind of a thing to ponder, kind of a thing to understand deeply, why Buddha is giving this kind of a simile for this mental volition. So let's try to clarify this simile. Suppose you are in a debt, and you have taken suppose many lakhs from a particular person who is fairly strong and say very mighty person, very strong person, and unfortunately you couldn't pay it back, and tomorrow is the last day, and now the other person has called and phoned you, send you several reminders that tomorrow is the last day, you are in debt of so much of money and you have to pay it tomorrow as quickly as possible. It's a must to pay. Can you go to sleep today night? Say you have no money to pay. Can you go to sleep today night? So you have no money, the other person is constantly reminding you, pay this much, you'll be in trouble otherwise, I'll take you to the police, or I will fine you, I will kill you, or something like that. And you are in a utter mess now. Your mind is completely agitated now. So you can't go to sleep. So you want to sleep, but mind is not going to sleep. So you can see your intention is in one direction, but the situations is in a rather different situation, rather difficult situation. You can't handle it, even though you want to sort of direct your mind to another direction. Say you want to have a nice sleep because you may be fairly say hungry, fairly tired, so you want to have a good nap, but you can't sleep. So you can see, even though you intend something, you can't implement it because of some other situation. So let's take another situation. Suppose there is someone who has really make you hurt. So suppose he maybe blamed you or maybe hurt you, did something extremely unforgettable, unforgivable. So something bad has done to you, and someone anyway asking you to forgive him. Now you are trying and you are spending hours of metta and all, still you are getting that person's appearance or person's image to your mind. Isn't it? So it is a practical thing. You know that if you are developing this kind of a hatred, this kind of a revengeful thoughts, it will be harmful to you and blah blah, all these things, you know, all the theoretical stuff. But still mind goes and pick the same person again and again. Again and again you are getting the same person to your mind, and again mind start to burn. This is another situation. Suppose another situation. So in our say young age, okay, we maybe at school, maybe at university, at our say working place. So we have gone through certain situations, like suppose as a young man seen a beautiful girl, or a girl is seeing a handsome man. Now what is happening? Now suppose you are falling in love. Now you are thinking, you come to home and thinking, while you are traveling you are thinking, whenever you get time you are thinking. And all of a sudden, suppose you get to know that that particular person is married, out of your control now. No, I mean, it's utter waste of time now if you keep on thinking, because it's already taken. Now you want to forget. Can you forget immediately? That's a kind of a situation that you want to forget this particular person that you honestly loved and you fallen in love, maybe one-sided, doesn't matter, but you are fully attached. Mentally you fully attached, and you now know it's utterly useless. It's gone. You know, I mean, no chance in this life. Probably you can sing a song and can try something, but it's still proliferation. You want to stop the mind, you want to calm down, you want to come back to your studies, or you want to concentrate on your work, maybe just practice or meditate or something like that, but still mind goes and pick that same person. But here through the attachment, here through the kind of through the lust or through the craving, and again the same person is coming to the mind. But you know, theoretically, rationally, no use, but mind is going to that. So this is another situation. So you can see, so likewise, there are certain situations, even though we rationally think this is the correct path, this is the correct thing to do, still our mind or the situation is taking entirely in a different path. And another simile, say according to the Dhamma, if we take, say you know deers in the desert, so when the sunlight happens to the desert, occurs to the desert, so it appears in a distance like water. So we call it as mirage. So we know as human beings it's a mirage. But it is said that the deers in the, say close to the desert, they don't know. They think the far distant there's a beautiful lake full of water. So they run towards that lake. And they run, and they reach a fair amount of the middle of the desert, and still the mirage is still gone far. Now they are fairly tired, and still they couldn't reach the water to the lake. So they again run. Suppose they come to the edge of the desert, so they can't see the mirage now. So they suppose they look around, and now they found the mirage on the other side. Suppose it's a deer, poor guy, so he don't know our science, so like us maybe. So then he look at the backside and he see the beautiful lake on the other side. Now suppose he started to running towards the mirage, towards the other side. It's a beautiful lake and very, attractive, and yeah, he is now again running. Again extremely tired, and suppose he fainted and collapsed in between, and again suppose after a while he got senses, and again he see the mirage on the other side. Still he is now further need of water, because he is now fainted and no energy to run, but still the mind is still, what is there. So you go run and run. So he is now falling and again running, and ultimately may die. So you can see how the ignorance and the craving taking that deer into the death. It's utterly ignorance, utterly craving, but it is taking to the destruction of that creature. So we can think about these things deeply, and the same thing happened to us. So we think that we know science, we are human beings, and we are in a better situation. But we are also traveling in the samsara according to that deer, very similar to that deer. So that is, it is not that I am telling, it is the Buddha is telling. So we can see that the simile that Buddha is telling is giving us some kind of a understanding that even though our intentions are in a different side, we are not in a situation to act according to the intentions. Or on the other hand, we know rationally that we have to take another stand or another decision, but our intentions are taking a different situation. So we think on the another side that we are taking this decision. I am taking this decision. And we may be even thinking according to the conceit. So the others can't take this decision. I am the one taking this decision. I have this willing, I have this intention, I have this volition, so I have taken the decision. So likewise, even we can kind of tell others even. But unfortunately, our intentions are completely rooted with ignorance, completely rooted with influxes, the asavas. So we'll touch those things later. And basically what we need to understand is, so we like thinking, we like various kind of intentions, and we don't want to keep the mind still. Even though we rationally know that certain type of thinking is harmful to us, still mind is thinking about those things. Suppose according to the Dhamma we say, okay, say lustful objects, lustful thinking may be harmful to oneself, may be destroying our inner wisdom, not the correct path. So Buddha is telling to avoid such thinking, kama vitakka, lustful thinking, to avoid, but still mind is going and thinking about it. And again Buddha is telling the ill will is harmful, and don't think about in an angry way, in an aggressive way, but still mind go and pick up the same thing. And again Buddha says delusion is harmful, don't indulge in it, but mind likes to stay there. So here we can see our mind is fairly conditioned to look at in a certain way. So we can see, so if someone understands these things, even now we can see it's a kind of a deeper subject is there. Our mind is operating according to these things. And if someone can penetrate this kind of thinking, this kind of unnecessary proliferation, then he should be able to have some kind of peace in the mind. Suppose one has a very peaceful, very calm, serene, still, unentangled mind, very clear, then he should be in a fairly good state of the mind. Good clarity of the mind is available. You can see even rationally there's some practical value is there when you are having some kind of a clarity of the mind, when you are mindful. So therefore Buddha says, if one completely understands this mano sanchetana ahara, mental volition, then Buddha says he will completely understand the three types of craving. So what are the three types of craving? Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. So another aspect Buddha is telling, now he started actually with the mano sanchetana ahara, mental volition. And Buddha says if one fully understand, fully comprehend mental volition, he also fully understand three types of craving. So you can see the kind of a connectivity of the Dhamma. So Buddha started with mental volition, and when we are understanding mental volition, automatically we understand the three types of craving as well. So if one fully understand three types of craving, what would be the result? So according to the Buddha, he become an arahant. So you can see what a depth Buddha is talking in this subject. It is not that you are just understanding about Chinese food or Japanese food or Italian food or something like that. This is a kind of a deeper nutriment. Even though it is a food, it's a food for the mind. So if one fully understand this type of food, this kind of nutriment which is causing us, so it is taking us in a deeper understanding. It is taking us a far away understanding of the Dhamma. So therefore Buddha says, if one understand mental volition, he will understand three types of craving. If one fully comprehend three types of craving, he become an arahant, fully enlightened person. So therefore this subject is extremely useful for our meditation, because it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next month, but our goal is to attain Nibbana, to realize Dhamma, to be free from suffering. So that is our goal. So maybe in this life or in another life, we want also to become fully enlightened. Otherwise we will be again and again reborn in the samsara. So you can see, so Buddha is giving us some kind of clues in these suttas. So in order to further go into the subject, now let's look at the mental volition. Sometimes called mano sanchetana ahara, and sometimes it's called mano sankhara, and therefore the term sankhara is extremely useful. So what is sankhara? So sometimes we translate it as fabrications, sometimes as preparations, sometimes as mental formations. So various interpretations are given. Anyway, let's look at what Buddha has to say about sankhara. So there's a beautiful sutta in Khanda Samyutta, which is called Kajjaniya Sutta. So there Buddha given the very clear definition for sankhara. So Buddha himself asked the question, Kincha bhikkhave sankhare vadetha. Why, monks, it is called sankhara? And he himself is giving the answer. He's telling, Sankatang abhisankharonti ko bhikkhave tasma sankharati uchati. Sankatang abhisankharonti ko bhikkhave tasma sankharati uchati. So Buddha has given the clear definition why they are called sankhara. So what is the meaning of this? Literally it means they construct the conditioned. Therefore they are called volitional formations. So when we tell like this, it appears like Greek, so we can't understand. So let's get into some clarification about this. So what is this? So what is this sankatang abhisankharonti? What is this conditioned, or the condition is further conditioned or further fabricated? What is meant by that? So let's take certain examples, then it is easy to understand. And Buddha is explaining very clearly that this applicable to all the 5 types of aggregates. So you know, according to the Buddha, there are 5 aggregates that in a way that we can understand the experience. So the first aggregate is form, rupa, rupakkhandha. So Buddha says, rupang rupattaya sankatang abhisankharontiti. That is one type. So when we consider rupa, the form, in the very naked sense, unprepared sense, it is just a kind of a color what we see. When we open our eyes, what we see is just a color. But unfortunately or fortunately, we can't stop at that level. Suppose you see a young child, and if you see young child, so you immediately see the size of him, the color of him, the age of him, everything, and then you might even see that he is your child and he is a really good child. He came the first in the class. Maybe he's not a good as such. So he's not my child. So it's the other person's, my neighbor's child is not good as my child. So he didn't become the first in the class. So he did something to my child on the last week. So you again and again thinking to another story. You have simply seen a sight, but unfortunately you couldn't stop there. The sight is conditioned, sight is fabricated, sight is prepared into something else. So it may be a beautiful sight, it may be an extremely repulsive sight, or even you even bother to look at it, kind of a neutral sight. So you keep adding something from internally to what you have seen. Don't you do that? Suppose you have, like I have taken the previously, suppose you have seen someone who did something wrong to you. You didn't expect to see him or her at this time, but accidentally he came or she came in front of you. So you can't avoid the path now. Unfortunately, it happened. Now you couldn't stop at that sight level. Mind started to recall all the past and keep adding. Keep fabricating, preparing. So the sight is now changed to a huge kind of thinking, a big story. Now you are preparing. Now the mind is adding a lot to what you have seen. On the other side, suppose you have seen a beautiful sight, maybe a good scenery, say for example. So you want to have a picture of it, you want to frame it and to enlarge it, have the same kind of colors. So you go to the best photographer and ask him to take a picture of that, make it a good size of it and frame it and take it and pay a lot of money and keep it at your, say, bedroom or at your veranda or whatever place where you can enjoy it again and again. But it is just a sight what you have seen at the beginning. We couldn't stop at that level. So we are keep on preparing, we are keep on adding through our minds. Suppose we have heard a sound. So while you are meditating, now suppose you are in a good meditation, anapanasati. So mind is very much in the in-breath, fully with out-breath, fully with in-breath. Immediately someone smash the door. So you start thinking, why don't these people behave well in this meditation hall? So these organizers are extremely, say, poor. They can't well instruct these people. I better find another good soundproof meditation place. So you keep thinking. So you want adding. Now Anapanasati has gone 45 minutes in utter thinking. So these are certain things naturally happens in our mind. This is just a sound, by the way. So if you could stop just a sound, it appear and disappear. It just come back to breath. But unfortunately we can't do it. Suppose now these days the musical shows are happening at night. Even being at forest, we can't escape it. So now we have all high sound systems, so they freely send us also some music. So suppose sound happen, some music, maybe I heard, say, 10 years ago. So maybe my mind start to think, oh, it may be that singer. So he's a very nice person. He had another song as well. This song is not that beautiful. He has another song, it's extremely beautiful. I used to say that. So I was enjoying that song. Oh my goodness. So like that, now I started to think about another song even, not this song. So like that, this just a sound. Just a sound happened on your eardrum, but we couldn't stop at that sound level. So this is what is happening. And sometimes we are going in the road and sometimes, this lottery sellers, they are keep on shouting that today is the lottery drawing. So, and you don't have money or you are not interested, but they are all keep on pumping all these sounds. So you hate or you want to go by a car, you hate traveling by foot, and you go into a bus. So bus also, if it is a private bus maybe, mostly they give free of music. Free of charge, they give all the, I don't know, I don't need to explain these things. So you see, you can see, we can't stop. They also don't want to stop, and we also can't stop, and we can't keep our mind on the breath or on the, say, whatever the posture, whatever thing. Our mind starts to go on the sound, and we keep adding, and we may be enjoying it, we may be hating it. So likewise, in terms of form, we have various kinds of proliferations, various kind of preparations, various kind of fabrications happening. So not only that, so it is valid even for the feeling. Suppose you like a particular type of feeling. So you say particular taste, for example. So you are looking for that taste. You may be paying a lot for that. You are searching that kind of food. It may be extremely expensive. And you are internally, you have a kind of a huge attachment to that. that particular feeling. And even certain advertisements are telling that you can't beat the feeling. So you are going after that. So when the feeling is happen at your tongue, say for example, if you are tasting certain food, it is appearing and then after a while it disappears. So once you swallow the food, it has gone. But we can't stop at that level. So we are too attached to that and we want to have another amount. So the next day also go to the same place or another place. So likewise, the feeling is something that we get attached. And we can't stop the feeling level. We can't stop the state of the feeling. We keep adding our own likes and dislikes. Similarly, Buddha says the sanya, the perception. So we may be having some kind of a sign come into the mind. Suppose now you are here and you are now fairly peaceful and your mind is now getting concentrated. All of a sudden, your husband may be remembered, your wife may be remembered, your child may be remembered, your mother, your father may be remembered, or maybe a loved one is remembered, kind of a sign come into the mind. So if we stop at that level, that perception level, no harm. It may come and it will stay a few seconds and will disappear. But we can't stop it at that level, so we keep adding. So just a sign came, suppose now you are here, the majority is women, so I'll take that you are recalling your husband. So all of a sudden you remember him. So, oh my God, don't know whether he had good lunch today. Maybe I can call him and check. Probably I can order some fried rice for the night and ask him to eat. So till I come home tomorrow. So keep on thinking, but we started with a slight sign. Just a kind of a memory came to the mind, just a perception, but we unfortunately couldn't stop there. We keep adding our part. We are adding spices to that and tasting it. We keep thinking. Now the mental preparation. Now the sanya is taken into prepared sanya, fabricated sanya. Not the unfabricated or the kind of pure level, but kind of fabricated level. Similarly, another option, another side is the sankhara. So Buddha says even the formations level are further fabricated by this sankhara. That's in a way further kind of deeper. Suppose you get some kind of faith. Immediately some faith, saddha happen to your mind. Say about the Buddha or about say Ruannali pagoda. So you start to think, oh, I haven't gone to Anuradha for a long time. So maybe the next Vesakko, maybe Poson, I have to go there. So maybe I can invite my parents, my relatives also. Even my children haven't gone there for a long time. So like now that just a sign, just a faith appeared in the mind. Now you are adding, you are fabricating, changing, spicing, everything you are doing. So it becomes a huge thing after a while. Similarly, Buddha says, when the certain types of consciousness happen, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, tongue consciousness, nose consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness, any type of consciousness, we don't stop at that level. So this is the kind of addition, this is the kind of fabrication, this is the kind of preparation we do unknowingly even. Sometimes we do it knowingly and sometimes we do it unknowingly. So why this is happening? Buddha says it is happening due to ignorance. Avijja paccaya sankhara. So if you are able to understand this, if you are able to understand the mind started to talk, mind become chattering because of ignorance. That's a kind of a good understanding in your practice. Because it's our own or kind of internal ignorance causing us to think too much, causing us to lost in obsessions, various kind of fantasies. It is our own ignorance is causing this. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Ignorance is causing this kind of thinking, this kind of fabrication. So basically, another good simile has given by Venerable Katukurunde Jnanananda Maha Thero. He recently passed away, and I feel it is further giving us another deeper understanding about this subject. And let us look at his simile. He is taking kind of a cinema. You know, in the term sankhara, according to him, is used in ancient India for the dramas even. You know, in drama, it is not the real people playing the roles. It is not the real king and playing the king's role. It is not the real peasant come and playing the farmer's role. Or it is not the real, say, murderer or someone coming and playing that role. Rather, all are actors. Actors are coming and playing different roles. And in order to play this drama, for example, suppose there's a particular drama being played. Now, according to the drama, according to the that given site, the stage is also prepared. Suppose it's a kind of a night scene. So the environment is prepared like that. The lighting is adjusted accordingly. It's maybe gloomy, maybe kind of a sign of the moon is there, maybe sound is also there. So the stage is well prepared to match with the night scene. You can see the stage is prepared, stage is fabricated. It is not real, it is fabricated, it is prepared. And suppose there's a sound happens, maybe someone crying. It is not the someone is suppose a child is crying, but it is not a real child is crying, but a kind of a recorded crying is happening, or maybe someone is imitating it. So likewise, it is prepared. It is not a real thing. Maybe someone is singing, but that person can't even sing. Someone else is singing, but she appeared like singing. She imitated like singing. And maybe someone is behaving well and showing his character, appearing smart, like a king. Maybe having a various jewelry, but is a utterly poor person in the real life. Not a king at all. It's just an actor. Maybe just earning some money from this poor drama. So all these things you can see are all not real. They are all prepared. If you look at cinema, there's another way this kind of preparations happen. Now in the cinemas, so if you want to see a movie, suppose you are going to a cinema hall, and suppose you are going to look at it, watch it in the daytime, maybe 2:30 or I don't know, 10:30, whatever. So it's a daytime. Now what happens? So in order to show the picture, the whole surrounding has to be completely dark. So all the windows are closed, all the doors are closed. So you have black curtains, and the complete environment is accordingly prepared, so that the only the that screen get the lighting. So you can understand how much preparation is there in the cinema hall. And then the sound system surrounding and all various kind of sound systems are also there. And now from the small projector appearing in from far distant, now a light beam is projected to the screen. So when the movie is played, can we remember that this is a light? projecting from the projector coming from far distant. So we can't understand. We can't even remember because we are fully enjoying the movie. Now a beautiful girl is now going after a beautiful flower, bed, and another beautiful person behind her. So now unfortunately there's a strong guy next to them, maybe father, I don't know. So likewise we are entrapped in the scene. We can't remember this is a movie. We can't remember that we are in a particular cinema hall, but we think we are in that place. We are enjoying. To the level of ignorance we have, we can enjoy the cinema. We can enjoy the movie. Can you understand the situation? So this is the preparations. This is the fabrication. So this is the fabrication. This is happening in our mind. So suppose all of a sudden, all the doors are opened. All the windows are open. Then what happened? The screen become what? Completely faded. All these beautiful girls, beautiful boys, and the trains, airplanes, all gone. It's just a white screen available. So that is what is happening when the wisdom is occurring in the mind. So we were in a dream. We were in a fantasy. We were in a movie. And all of a sudden that movie world collapsed. So you can understand the depth of the cinema. How much we were entrapped, how much we were ignored, or how much we were in delusion, deceived in this cinema. So this is the exact thing happening in our mind. You can actually think about this simile. More and more you are understanding it. More and more you understand how much we are adding to our own thoughts. Like I have said, when a particular sight is seen, we are preparing. We recall the past incident. We connect the sight to a previous experience. We are adding our bit. We are adding some spices. We are connecting our past experience. Some kind of fabrication. When a sound happens, same thing. When a taste happens, same thing. When a kind of a sign appearing in the mind, someone recalls, some memory comes, same thing. We are adding. We can't keep the things as it is. We can't stop there. So this story, this fabrication, if not addressed, suppose if this happened at the deathbed, so what would be the next life? Suppose you are at your deathbed. Now say your children are crying and the nurses are coming and taking some syringes and the saline is come drop by drop. You are in the last breath. Now what happened? Fabrication happened in the mind. So what will be the next life? So that is the depth. So that is the ignorance. That is how the next life is happening. So how much we were fortunate to have this life. So what would be our past life last thought? What was the fabrication? Can you imagine the depth? So if not we were mindful, if not we were able to avoid this kind of fabrication, then we will be utterly in a bad situation. In a helpless situation, mind will take us on a ride. Even though if we want to be reborn in a better place, at least, unfortunately mind will take us on its own way. According to the defilements, according to our own personal traits. We can't stop at the deathbed. So that is why we need to do the job before the death. Before it is too late. Because it takes time for you to understand about yourself. What are the drawbacks? What are the shortcomings in our life, in our character? Where I get trapped? Where my mind get twisted? So what are the influxes? Where I am being dragged? So all these things ourselves has to be revealed. No one else come and exactly pinpoint you. This is the place exactly you have to change. Suppose even some Kalyana Mitra come and tell you, are we ready to accept it? Very unlikely. If you are in a very conceited character, even a person has properly assessed us and tell us you are going wrong in this point, we may even hate that person. So this is the situation we are in actually, and this is why Buddha is telling this whole mass of suffering is due to this fabrication, due to these formations, due to this mental volition. So that Buddha says in Dvaitanuspasana Sutta, I just taken one verse. There Buddha says, Yankinchi dukkhang sambhoti sabbhang sankhara paccaya. Sankharānaṁ nirodhena natti dukkhassa sambhavoti. Yankinchi dukkhang sambhoti sabbhang sankhara paccaya. So whatever type of suffering happened, it is due to these fabrications. Any stress that comes into play is all from fabrication. So it may be kind of a utter suffering, or it may be slight stress happening at the moment even. Maybe a kind of a tension, maybe a slight stress, or it may be a extreme suffering. It all has a connection with these fabrications. And therefore Buddha says, Sankharānaṁ nirodhena natti dukkhassa sambhavoti. If these fabrications cease, if we can stop them, if we can still the fabrications, then there is no suffering. So that would be the solution then. So then Nibbana is nothing else. That is the Sabba Sankhara Samatha. That's why Buddha is telling. Sabba Sankhara Samato is the term for Nibbana. Stilling of all preparations. So you can see the depth the Dhamma is taking us. So I think today kind of a exploration of various types of sankhara and the depth of it and the how much entangled in it, and let's look at the solution, how one can take through the practice on tomorrow. So with that concluding remark, I will wind up the today's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for listening.